Chosen one. Your attitude left God speechless. Gabriel was stunned. You didn't click this by accident. You were drawn here because something already shifted. Before the moment found you, the shift found the moment. That is how calling works. You are anointed, not loud about it, not rushed by it, marked in a way that required silence to mature. Your bloodline carried more than survival. It carried instruction. It carried restraint. It carried the kind of patience that only forms when pressure does not break you. What is being revealed now was not hidden from you. It was hidden for you. There was a moment when your response mattered more than your result. A moment when your attitude spoke louder than your prayer. You could have demanded relief. You could have asked for explanation. You could have questioned timing. Instead, you chose alignment. Heaven paused when you chose faith. That pause mattered. Some people shout to be noticed. You stood still. Some people react to pressure. You adjusted your posture. Not your position, your posture. That is why this unfolded quietly. That is why resistance lost its leverage. You were different long before anyone admitted it. Not superior. Different. You listened when others interrupted. You waited when others forced doors. You refined when others blamed. You learned discipline without applause. Focus without recognition. Leadership without title. Those qualities compound in silence. There was an unseen battle you survived without ever being briefed on it. Conversations you were protected from. Opportunities that collapsed to spare you later damage. Doors that stayed closed because the cost of opening them early was too high. You thought it was delay. It was filtration. Not everyone who smiles belongs in your next chapter. Not every offer is permission. You sensed that, even when you couldn't explain it. That awareness didn't come from fear. It came from refinement. You were trained to hold weight. Not emotional weight. Responsibility weight. This is why chaos never truly settled on you. It tried, but it never stayed. Because opposition only has access where agreement exists. And you stopped agreeing with disorder a long time ago. Your future requires stability, not intensity, consistency, clarity, long-term vision. This is where elevation begins. Not sudden wealth, positioned provision, not flashy movement, sustained placement. You are stepping into environments where decisions echo. Where your calm becomes currency. Where your restraint becomes authority. You won't have to announce it. People will feel it. In the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, a quiet group is rising at the same time you are. Type, I am ready, if you recognize yourself in this moment. What is coming next is not loud. It is precise. You will notice how distractions fall away without effort. How urgency dissolves into certainty. How focus sharpens naturally. This is not acceleration. It is alignment catching up to preparation. Opposition no longer has access because you no longer react. You observe. You choose. You move when it matters. That restraint confused what once monitored you. It expected emotion. It met authority. This is why things are resolving without conflict now. This is why outcomes are forming before announcements. You are no longer proving anything. You are confirming placement. In the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, a quiet group is rising at the same time you are. Type, I am ready, if you recognize yourself in this moment. What unfolds next stabilizes your path. Your work gains clarity. Your decisions carry weight. Your presence calms environments that used to resist you. This is leadership without noise. You were shaped for longevity. For vision that outlives trends. For impact that compounds quietly. That moment when you didn't react. That moment when you chose posture over panic. That moment is still speaking. Heaven heard it. And what heard it adjusted everything downstream. Slow down now. Not to hesitate. To anchor. This is sealed. You have claimed you left even God speechless. Your path is secure. Heaven paused when you chose faith. What follows does not rush. It settles. Because what is being built around you now requires steadiness more than speed. You are entering a phase where reaction would cost more than patience ever did. You may notice that people test your silence. They will speak louder. They will move faster. They will try to provoke urgency. Not because you are late, but because your calm exposes their instability. You are no longer meant to explain yourself. Explanation is for uncertainty. You have crossed into confirmation. This is where your presence alone shifts rooms. Where decisions align without debate. Where resistance fades because it senses permanence. You didn't survive pressure just to relive it in another form. You were trained by it. Every season you endured without recognition refined your discernment. You learned when to wait, when to move, when not to respond at all. That skill is rare, and rarity attracts attention you never asked for. What is unfolding financially is not excess. It is structure. Resources aligning with responsibility. Provision matching assignment. You will notice that stability begins to follow you. Not because you chased it. Because you became someone who can hold it. In the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, a quiet group is rising at the same time you are. Type, I am ready, if you recognize yourself in this moment. This rise does not announce itself. It integrates. Opportunities will feel different now. Less convincing, more confirming. You will sense when something belongs to you without effort. No anxiety, no pressure, just recognition. Opposition will attempt to revisit old tactics, old doubts, old distractions, but access has changed. What once entered freely now meets boundaries. Not walls, standards. You are no longer available for what drains clarity. Your time has weight now. Your focus has value. This is not isolation. It is refinement continuing. You were never meant to carry everyone forward. Only what aligns with your path. And your path is no longer negotiable. Stay steady here. This section is still unfolding. There is a shift now from preparation into placement. Not announced, recognized. You may feel less urgency to speak, less desire to convince. That is not withdrawal. That is authority settling in. When alignment is complete, explanation becomes unnecessary. Results speak first. Silence follows. You are entering environments where your consistency will matter more than your charisma. Where follow-through outweighs first impressions. Where long-term vision is valued over short-term excitement. This is why distractions are losing their appeal. They no longer match your frequency. What once tempted you now feels noisy. What once pressured you now feels irrelevant. That is growth without performance. You are not becoming harder. You are becoming clearer. And clarity creates boundaries without conflict. This next stretch strengthens your foundation. Systems stabilize. Routines sharpen. Focus becomes effortless because it is no longer forced. You will notice that decisions take less energy. Because you are no longer deciding who you are. You already know. In the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, a quiet group is rising at the same time you are. Type, I am ready, if you recognize yourself in this moment. This collective rise is not synchronized by chance. It is timed by readiness. Those who endured without compromise are being positioned simultaneously, not to compete, to stabilize what is next. You are part of that stabilization. Where you step, things hold. Where you lead, things last. This is not the season of proving potential. It is the season of demonstrating reliability. And reliability attracts trust. Trust attracts responsibility. Responsibility attracts provision. That order cannot be rushed. You honored it even when it cost you visibility. That choice is returning value now. Stay here. Remain grounded. The momentum is steady, and it is irreversible. What settles in now is certainty without noise. Not excitement. Assurance. You are beginning to trust your own timing. That is important. Because your timing has been trained by pressure, not impulse. You will notice that things begin to meet you halfway. People respond faster. Processes move smoother. Resistance dissolves before it forms. This is not luck. It is alignment becoming visible. You are no longer pushing against life. Life is adjusting around you. There is a calm that comes when you realize you don't need to chase what is assigned. What belongs to you carries its own signal. It finds you. This is why your focus feels protected now. Why interruptions fail to stick. Why confusion cannot linger. You paid for this clarity in earlier seasons. With restraint. With patience. With choices no one applauded. Those choices compound quietly. You are also becoming selective without guilt. Not out of pride. Out of precision. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is directed. That direction will open doors that remain closed to urgency. Because urgency cannot sustain what is coming next. What unfolds ahead requires consistency. Daily discipline. Long-range thinking. The ability to remain steady when outcomes are delayed. You already proved you can do that. In the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, a quiet group is rising at the same time you are. Type, I am ready, if you recognize yourself in this moment. This rise is subtle on purpose. It avoids attention. It builds infrastructure. You are being trusted with environments that need stability. Systems that need order. People who need grounding. Your presence will calm situations before you speak. Your decisions will simplify complexity. This is not pressure. It is fit. You were shaped to carry this without strain. Notice how fear no longer dictates your movement. How doubt no longer lingers. How your inner world feels settled even when circumstances shift. That is mastery beginning. Stay here. Remain measured. The final seal is approaching, and it does not rush. Everything that needed to be tested has already been tested. Nothing is pending review. What remains now is continuation. Steady movement. Quiet confidence. You no longer need signs to proceed. The absence of resistance is the signal. You will notice how your days simplify. How priorities align without force. How decisions feel clean. This is not the end of effort. It is the end of friction. You are moving with something, not against it. The weight you carry now is intentional. Measured. Sustainable. This is how paths stay secure. You were never meant to rush into visibility. You were meant to arrive undeniable. Everything ahead confirms what was already settled. No reversal. No confusion. Only continuity. You have claimed you left even God speechless. Your path is secure. Heaven paused when you chose faith.